Hi! The descent into madness has begun. It's just me and Robin and the bump. Here in the Beer household, Montgomery County is on shelter in place. But I'm so glad to imagine that I'm seeing you right now. Yes, I'm trying to make you smile. That is part of my goal. If you don't feel like smiling or laughing, that's absolutely all right. You can just cover your eyes if your eyes are burning from my fashion decisions. I have a quality microphone hooked up this week. Some of you mentioned that I was a little quieter than some of the sound samples I was sending, so hopefully you can hear me better. Troubleshooting technology can be really frustrating, and we're all being asked to switch over to using a lot more technology. It's great that we have this stuff to help us connect in this time of having to be apart, but at the same time, it's really difficult and frustrating depending on how comfortable you are. Do check to see if your speakers or headphones are fully and firmly plugged in to make that full connection. That might be part of a problem for some folks. But also, if I have a better microphone, I hope you can hear me a lot better. All right. This is what we've got. Speaking of which, the Verdi is not yet cancelled. I have no confirmation from the Reading Symphony Orchestra just yet on their plans, but they were investigating a potential June 27th reschedule. And it sounds like many of us are available if that were to happen. Who knows? I mean, don't set your heart on it. Even if it gets rescheduled, not all of us can do it, and I am really bummed about that. But that's the way this goes. It's out of our hands. But even if it gets rescheduled, maybe it won't happen still. Everything's so up in the air right now, and we're all trying to figure it out. So nothing is confirmed. But hey, we've put in so much work. It's a great piece. Let's make sure we do the Verdi Requiem one way or another together within the next year or two. So all of this work is not in vain, dear singers. I've had a few requests for warm-ups. Sure. If you don't feel like doing warm-ups, you can either just listen quietly, if you're not in a position to sing without disturbing people around you, I understand, or you can skip ahead. But if you skip ahead, don't miss your sectionals. And I don't know if with this live premiere, if you're watching exactly from 7 p.m., you may not be able to skip ahead until after we've reached that part of the video anyway. All right. A little bit of singing. This is a warm-up I was going to work on in terms of trying to help our resonance to cut through the orchestra in the louder parts of the singing. So I would like us to hum on an N. That's with your teeth apart, like you're on an A or an O sound, nice and open. Your lips also apart, but the tip of your tongue coming up to make that N. And if you have trouble finding that, try a word that ends in N and then just stay on the end. So say the word sun like this. Sun. At the end there, I was in that N humming position. Let's do a few of those together. Up, 3, and down like this. Got it? Let's go. Don't forget to think about your breathing. Warm up your breathing. Nice and low. Drop the diaphragm. Now, a lot of us are told by singing teachers or coaches not to sing nasally. It's a nasty sound. What I'm talking about is actually in that direction, but it's not the same thing. Nasal is a pejorative term. It's used to talk about a negative quality in the voice often, unless it's a character you're playing. But opening up your resonances, which does include the nose, but also the sinuses on either side, it's something that singing teachers refer to as the mask. Resonance in the mask. We talk about the soft palate. I do a lot of NG humming with you to raise that soft palate in the back. And I do some M humming with you to bring the sound really forward between your lips. Well, the N hum helps you find that mask and really increase the resonance there. Just increasing the resonance in the mask, and particularly in the nose, yes, that's nasal. But if you engage the rest of your vocal resonance at the same time, it's actually a positive thing, which helps the voice carry. I've been watching the Met streams. I don't know what your internet is like, but the Metropolitan Opera has been streaming one of their HD presentations every night during the closure of their season up through May 9th. And it's pretty amazing to see these incredible singers and listen to them on my computer. Robin and I have been watching a few of those along the way. Last night was a very strange production of Tristan and Isolde. But they're doing the ring cycle starting tonight, and I don't know if I'm going to feel like we have time, but we might attempt to do the ring cycle for free online. But you have to have decent internet for that, so I hope you can take advantage. But the reason I mention that, opera singers, highly trained classical singers, they really engage the resonance in the mask so that they can sing and be heard above an orchestra in terms of the overtones that are being excited that the instruments can't really hit, but the voice can if you engage all of those resonances. So let's work on the N one some more, but please don't shy away from really opening up and feeling the resonance behind your cheeks and in your nose. All right, let's start here and we'll go down because it gets harder to keep that resonance high the lower you get. I'll remind you as we go. Ready? Breathe. Breathe nice and low. Okay, keep the sound forward and up. Don't let it get all throaty down at the bottom there. Are you doing it? Are you keeping it forward? Are you keeping it high? Nice and present in the nasal passages. Now let's do one more. It's getting pretty low. Really keep it resonant, nice and high in the mask. Particularly for basses and altos, when you get down low in your range. This is true for any voice. But when we're singing in four-part harmony, the basses and the altos tend to be lower down. And we really have to sort of keep that open. Keep that sort of, not nasal, but we'll talk about that in person, because we will have to have at least a few rehearsals in person. Don't get too nervous about what those are going to look like. Nobody knows yet. All right. I want to do an exercise rolling our R's. I know some people can't roll their R's. It's actually a genetic thing in terms of how our tongues are formed. But if you can't, please forgive me for going on this exercise. You would be welcome to actually at the same time right now, rolling your lips if you like. So we're just going to go up 5 and down, rolling our R. Just like that. Ready? And breathe. Again, starting there, and just as we get higher, a nice little reminder, if you're not standing, you may want to stand. If you're sitting, just do think a little bit about how you can have good posture right from the waist up, just like if you were standing. Try not to be leaning on anything, and really breathe nice and low, and as you go higher, connect down to that breath support. We've done this in warm-ups before, I'm just reminding you, so think down as your voice goes up into your support. Here we go, we're going to keep going up. Ready? And rolling R's. Let's do now a little bit of a familiar exercise. You're probably used to this one, starting relatively low. Let's do a little bit of that one together. Ready? Go. Let's go up a half step. Let's try one on E. Ready? How about ah? 3, 4. Ah. back to ooh. Remember, with these other vowels, ah is a little bit easier for most people, but on something like ooh, you need to make it a little taller at the top. Ooh, something like that. And another one. Ooh. Let's do E, and that's another one where you need to make it a little taller at the top, a little more like eh up at the top. E, just a little shading of eh, not more than you need to do. Ready? 3, 4. E, back to ah. I cracked. How about you? Probably not you. Got to get that support underneath. I shouldn't be sitting down, should I? Ready? 3, 4. You know what? Warm-ups when you're home alone are quite different. I just want to take a little moment and talk to you right now about being easy on yourself and kind to yourself. When we sing in a big group, it's really easy to be a part of that group, and that's part of what I love about choirs and team music making of any sort, orchestras as well, is you're being a part of the whole. I don't know too many people, no matter how gorgeous their voices are, and I know some people with some pretty gorgeous voices, who like listening to themselves in isolation and critically. It's not a fun thing to do, and it's very hard to have a comfortable relationship with the sound of your own voice, especially on recordings. I hate listening to recordings of myself, but I would like to make sure that you that you just do these warm-ups and sort of suspend disbelief in terms of how you think you sound at the moment. It's really still worth doing. All right, I'd like to do one more warm-up, and that's to take the rolled R and the N that we were doing and put them together into a little bit of text. You don't really need to look at your music right now, but I'm using a little phrase from the bass section in measure 41, and it goes like this. Rex Tremendae majestatis. We're going to do that, only we're just going to do the first part of that, Rex Tremendae. So, Rex Tremendae. And that's it. That's the exercise. So we're actually going to start a little bit lower. Rex Tremendae. Ooh, I transposed that really well. Rex Tremendae. And failed. I will just sing it from now on. And we're going to take that up as an exercise. Now, Rex. I really want you to roll the R, not artistically, just overdo it completely. And Rex Tremendae. And, the N of Tremendae is a great place to find out if you've actually been up in the mask or not, because if you have to make a sudden Rex Tremendae, if it's a sudden big shift in your mouth, then you weren't already there in that N position that you're supposed to be in. So let's try that. Ready? Rex Tremendae. And then stopping on the N for a little bit like I just did. Let's try that again up a half step. Ready? Rex Tremendae. It's really telling whether you have to do a lot to find that N position. If you're making a big move, then Rex Tremendae. Try starting with an N. So like this. Rex. Ready? Rex Tremendae. Hopefully that N in Tremendae was a little bit easier to find, because hopefully the rest of your voice was in line with that resonance, having started on an N. Let's try that again, because that's really useful. Up a half step. This is where the basses actually sing it. Everyone's singing this in their own octaves. Rex, Rex. Sorry, I didn't clarify that. I've been playing the wrong octaves. Here we go. Starting with an N. Ready? Rex Tremendae. Let's go up a half step. Rex Tremendae. Rex Tremendae. Rex Tremendae. Yeah, that's getting pretty high up there for contraltos and low basses. But hopefully that exercise is a little bit useful for you to see how to take some of these concepts into the actual language and the music itself. All right. We're working on the remaining parts of the music tonight that we have yet to sectionalize. That will be page 41 and page 117. A few words of explanation first. Some of you don't like choralia. I agree, it annoys me, but it is a very accessible tool. So that's where I wanted to start the first week. It's relatively easy to figure out, it's relatively powerful in terms of your controls, and of course, with the weird computer trying to do the words along with you, that helps a lot of people who get a little bit lost in the music, may not be as familiar with music notation on the staff. It helps them know where they are in the music. If you don't have the words, it's much harder. Cyberbass doesn't have the words. However, you are welcome to use any type of learning track you want, and for a piece like Verdi Requiem, there are a lot of them out there if you know how to use your search engine. So I'll help a little bit with that, and this week I'm hoping to do a video on how to make the most out of Cyberbass, in case that's a tool you want to use, but you don't know all of the way to use it. There you are. As always, important links are down below this video. I will show you where. Hello. This is what happens when you click on that link to go see the YouTube video. It's probably what already happened so that you're here watching me right now. It automatically should start to play at full volume, but I'm going to show you a couple of quick tools about how to make YouTube work for you. Tool number one that I want you to be aware of is the show more down below. That's the thing people are having the most trouble with. So if you scroll down below the video, I can do that with my mouse, or sometimes you need to go over to the sidebar and grab that little thing there, and that can move your screen up and down. But I'm scrolling down below. And if you see there's a title there for the video, how many views there have been, when it was posted, the likes, the dislikes, sharing, saving, that sort of thing. You won't see some of this stuff. Analytics and edit video, I have that because I'm logged in and this is my video. You shouldn't see those. If you do, let me know. Down below my name, see my little face there and GT Beer, that's my account. You will see here link number 1, tips on using choralia. And you can click that link and go to another video. Most of you have figured that out, but see right below that it says show more. I don't know if you're on a phone, if it might look a little bit different, but I think in most YouTube that's where that is. It's above the comments section. If I click show more, that's how all the rest of the links pop up. So that's everything I've typed below the video. It doesn't automatically show you that because it doesn't want to clog it up. It wants you to see the comments. But that's what you need, show more, or if you want to get rid of that, I don't know why you would, show less. But that's where you need to go to see the links. I'll give you a couple of other quick tips while I've got you here. For instance, playing and pausing, you can just click on the screen. Anywhere on the video, that pauses or plays it. Notice when I move my mouse off of the video, you just see the video. If I move my mouse on the video, now you see down below a red bar. You can use that to skip around. And you've got a play pause button over on the left. I can pause it or play it there. This button takes you to another video, the next video that YouTube automatically thinks you should watch. So you don't want to click that. Right here, you can mute or unmute the volume, and you can actually control the volume in the YouTube video, or you can control the volume on your whole device. That's another way to do that. A couple of other fun things you might find to do would be, if you're playing along, I'm going to mute it again. If you're playing along and you're having trouble understanding something or your audio is not very good, captions. Subtitles, closed captions, they're automatically created. And if you skip around, you'll see that YouTube is automatically listening to what I say and typing it up on the bottom. Actually, I must have very good diction because usually it gets some of those things wrong. That seems pretty much like what I remember saying there. All right, I'm turning the captions back off. Here's another one you might find useful. Right next to the captions, see that gear symbol there? Settings, it's called. I click on that. I can actually control the speed of the playback. I can slow it down or speed it up. You probably don't want to do that. But if you're having trouble with your internet connection, it's automatically deciding that I want 480 pixels per whatever. I don't even know if the P stands for pixels. If you click on that quality button,
because it's having trouble loading, you can actually reduce the quality of the video by going down to 240, 144. Notice what that does. Much lower quality. See, really grainy. You can hardly see what I'm holding up there with the music. But if I have a bad internet connection, sometimes that'll help me get through the video. At least I can listen to it still. You could also take the quality all the way up to 1080p. You probably don't want to do that, but if you want to listen and watch in high definition, you can override your internet auto settings and go for 1080. I'm going to put it back on auto, which is down at the bottom of that list. Now it's going to pick what it thinks is best for me. I hope you find that useful in terms of using YouTube as a tool, and I'll see you back in the main video.
Remember, you can always pause this video or skip back for something you missed. The one great advantage we have right now in this isolation is that you can have as many or few repetitions as work for you personally. There's no need for me to try to average the room in terms of number of repetitions that someone might need and the person next to them might not. I'm going to have you pause me in a moment and hop on out to your sectional videos. Do come back here for page 117. In your sectionals, you're going to work on page 41. A few quick notes before you go. Your section leaders will tell you some extra parts that I want you to sing, so please take markings. Altos and sopranos, keep in mind that when you're singing the middle and upper note of the tenor trio on page 41, it's actually down an octave from what it looks like. Sopranos, that's middle C. And altos, these are tenor parts, and they're not even very high tenor parts. That may have confused your section leader. My bad. I'm so grateful for technology as much as it frustrates me. Your section leaders have each brought their own approach, and I'm glad that they were able to take that extra time making the video. I'm very grateful for their extra work. Rod got a little confused as to which section he was leading, and Jared's bloopers at the end are worth seeing, but just stick with your main sectional. That's your assignment. Luckily, the altos and sopranos are pretty competent. Please keep in mind, the five of us are musicians, and we're learning new interfaces with the technology that we happen to have at home. Susie is collecting feedback, and we do want to know how you think we can make things better, so please keep that coming, but also please be patient with us and with yourself, trying to figure all of this out as we go. Okay, pause me, and off to your sectionals. Links down below, as I showed you. Welcome back. Big thanks to our incredible section leaders. If you need more familiarity, I'll try again. If you need more familiarity with the Rex Tremendae section, please seek that through the resources provided. For now, I have a link below to a performance if you want to test yourself singing along with a performance. Here are your challenges. Soprano, alto, tenor. Can you find your note in the chord at measure 324? Everybody, including basses. Can you find the note you're supposed to come in on at measure 336? This is your chance to find out in context. It's a little bit harder, but it's meant to be. This isn't necessarily my favorite performance, but you can see the conductor for part of it, and it's bite-sized, which I like. When we get to working on sections of the full piece next week, I'll use bigger videos and tell you where to hop around in them, which is a little more complicated. But for now, the New Jersey State Opera Chorus and Orchestra, and not a bad performance at all. Link below, pause me, and have fun. It's the final 2 pages. After this, we move into review mode, right on schedule. Page 117, please. 117. Great. Okay. Do you see up at the top of the page the senza misura marking for the soprano? That's what I want you to take a look at right now. 117. That means without measure or unmeasured. So the soprano can sort of deliver the text however she wants to. The meaning of this text is, "Deliver me, Lord, from eternal death on that fearful day when the heavens tremble and the earth also." So it's a pretty terrifying text. Usually it's sung with some urgency. I'll give you an idea down an octave in sort of tenor range. Libera me, Domine, de morte eterna in die illa tremenda, quam quando c'è, and then it gets measured. Do you see where it says a tempo at the end of the top there? There's a reason I'm talking to you about the soprano solo. We do a very similar thing. Please do get a pencil. The choir sings this at the bottom of the page. It's also marked senza misura. But because we're a choir, a lot of conductors don't feel safe with it being that free, and they like to make a plan for a rhythm to keep us all together. I'm going to start by teaching it to you like plain chant, grouping the syllables according to stress. Please, if you've got your pencil ready, you can lightly underline the stressed syllables as I read it to you. I'll do it fast, and then I'll do it again immediately much slower to give you a chance to really underline them. And if you still need more time, you can pause and repeat this section of the video. So, here I am at measure 7. Libera me, Domine, de morte eterna in die illa tremenda. Actually, there's a little more on the next page, but I'll stop there and do that more slowly. One more time for you. Libera me, Domine, de morte eterna in die illa tremenda. Hopefully that gives you a sense of some arrival points that will help us line it up. Flipping the page over, we have Quando cieli movendi sunt et terra. I'll do that one again slower. Quando cieli movendi sunt et terra. Notice I'm really rolling that double R. The Italians would. So that's how I would group them if I were conducting this. Let's do it together. You try speaking too, and I'll conduct it 2 different ways. First, I'll do mixed patterns and keep close control. So it's going to look like this. Libera me, Domine, de morte eterna. I'll slow it down just slightly, sorry. Ready, and Libera me, Domine, de morte eterna in die illa tremenda. Flipping the page. And 1. Quando cieli movendi sunt et terra. Let's try that again. I'm just going to gesture on those strong syllables this time. Ready? And Libera me, Domine, de morte eterna in die illa tremenda. And then on the next page, one more time. This is measure 9. And Quando cieli movendi sunt et terra. All right. Now, there is another way to do this. Some conductors like it to be really measured, actually, ignoring Verdi's senza misura. In fact, that recording that I showed you with La Scala, they do it that way. It's probably for safety and simplicity, but it's really common among orchestral conductors to not want to mess with the choir, just do it strictly. So let's practice that version. This time, you sing the exact rhythm without lengthening the strong syllables slightly or rushing through the weak syllables like I was previously. Ready? And Libera me, Domine, de morte eterna in die illa tremenda. Do you see how that feels a little bit different than Libera me, Domine, de morte eterna in die? I have more control over the previous version, but this last version where you just do it really evenly, it's really safe. So we might be doing either. All right, let's try it with our notes. How about back to the previous way of doing it, with the stresses really brought out? I will sing along with the tenor part. Here are your notes. Bass, tenor, alto, soprano. That's it. Ready? Libera me, Domine, de morte eterna in die illa tremenda. And then it's the same notes over the page. We just have a little two beats of rest, 1 beat of rest there in measure 9, and then we come in. Oh no, it's not the same notes. I'm sorry. It's a note down. Here's the bass, tenor, alto, soprano. 1. Quando cieli movendi sunt et terra. Yeah, so if that feels a little bit fast for the text, then that's what you need to practice, is the text. Libera me domine de morte eterna in die illa tremenda, quando cieli movendi sunt et terra. I want it to be fluent, so if you can do it as fast as I just did it, then we can slow it down ever so slightly, and then the choir sounds like they actually know Italian and Latin, which is a good thing. Okay, how do you find your notes? Well, the soprano does a lot very loudly for you. Once she goes in measured at measure 3, it goes something like this. Quando cieli movendi sunt et terra. And the orchestra actually plays a nice chord for you there, like this, nice and low. So it's a bit of a harmonic shift right there, but that is your note, sopranos. And basses, it's the same note down the octave. Et terra! That's the soprano, and that's your soprano note. And basses, you're just down here. Tenors, you have to find the third of the chord. Altos, you have to find the fifth. The orchestra's playing those, but you have to find each one. Listen to that soprano part again, please. So we're in this sort of weird chord going on here. Cieli movendi sunt et terra. And here are your notes. Bass, tenor, alto, soprano. If that's not the note you thought it was, you can rewind that little part of the video and do that a couple of times and see if you can find the right note next time. I won't have you practice this short section with the recording because it's kind of easy, but also can be so different from one version to the next. If you want to look up some different recordings of the Verdi Requiem and listen to how different choirs and conductors do that, you're absolutely welcome to. So that's it. Thank you for your time and diligence. I look forward to reaping the rewards of this online effort at some point, whether or not the RSO concert is able to take place this season. Take care. Hope you're safe and comfortable as you can be within the situation that we're dealing with. And I will see you next week at 7 o'clock.